Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are in fact ready for the second hour of the Long Voyage. And we have some hijinks going on with some people being high on mushrooms, and the point being that they're hallucinogenic. They're also poisonous, so this isn't good for them. And
there's only one way to find out.
Mm-hmm.
By their million poop the day after.
Oh yeah.
When they paint a patch of grass and stuff.
And yes. So basically, the night passes with some hunting and some talking and some very strange visions based on mushrooms. And next morning arrives. And
I assume we find nothing during the night.
Not really, no. You've made way too much noise.
Aww.
But the next morning arrives, and Gylfi and Bagi wakes up. They wake up, and both of them are convinced that they are in fact going to die.
Bagi, what did we do? The much more important question: where do they wake up?
You wake up.
Where did they wake up? Yeah.
You wake up on the beach, where some of your crewmates have at least very kindly wrapped blankets around you. That hasn't stopped you from falling into each other's arms.
Aww.
And you are. It's kind of sticky inside the blankets.
Buggy, tell me that what I'm feeling is your axe.
And Ilva is looking at them both a little shocked.
It's
about
kind
to give them food.
It's kind of sticky in there. It's also incredibly smelly.
Well,
Gylfi, what did you make me do?
Science.
I hate you so much right now.
Wait, I think this will help.
Or do I?
Stop reaching for like another mushroom or something.
It totally shouldn't have been that. He could have said to Buggy, "You didn't say that to him last night."
Well, he can be there. I think at this point,
Yeah.
that's up to you. Really.
No,
Yeah,
the point is that Sindri wasn't there last night when they were still high. He went off.
Okay.
Otherwise, he would.
Yeah, but this is the day after.
Yes.
And Ilva
Yes.
was bringing them their food.
Mm-hmm.
She was probably also one of those who actually gave them blankets so they wouldn't be sick the day after.
Yeah.
Quickly, Buggy, let's roll to the sea.
Let's. And they start rolling to the sea.
Yes.
With the tandem rolling.
Ilva
The problem with that, of
calmly
course-
watches them.
The problem with the rolling, of course, is that since you are rolling inside the blankets, that also spreads this sticky mess, which smells bad. Yes.
Squish.
To put it in plain English, they have both eaten something which is not only a hallucinogenic, it is a very powerful laxative. And they have been too far gone to realize it, so they have basically emptied their bowels in their blankets during the night.
Love it.
Yeah, I realized the second you said it was very sticky because obviously they didn't have sex.
Well, who used to say they
Who
didn't have
knows?
sex?
But still, very sticky, and there was a lot of it. Yeah, they shat themselves.
Yep.
Ilva just looks after them. Are you two okay?
You just see this double caterpillar just falling to the sea.
By then, the rest of the entire camp hears Ilva laughing.
Yeah, the whole
start
crew.
rolling. The whole crew hears Ilva die of laughter.
Yeah.
Sindri comes over, takes stock of the situation, and then just says to the pair of them, "No one's cleaning up this but you two. You are going straight in the ocean and cleaning that shit up."
I think they're on the way.
Yep, that's pretty much what we're doing.
Trying.
Yep.
Are you okay, guys?
I love it. I love it. That's funny.
What have we learned, boys?
We will learn something once I can make my notes.
Oh heavens.
Do you guys want me to find your extra set of clothing?
No, we'll be fine. As long as we
Alright.
get to the water.
How do you
You
think the herbalism works?
You want help?
No!
I don't want to help you, boys, but rolling you to the water. That looks like it's really uncomfortable, that right there.
It's also incredibly stinky.
Yes. No. Just don't help them. Don't take any pity on them. Leave them to their suffering. They deserve
I
it.
think Ilva was taking a couple of steps toward them and then go, "Ugh,
Oh no.
you know what? You roll down there on your own.
That's
my
Gilfy
God.
though, not me. That's Gilfy.
You're doing the same squishy sounds. Oh my
That's
god!
because he shot all over me!
No.
I haven't find anything
But you know what? You know what? No,
Oh my god.
Ilva, come with me. We're leaving these two behind right now.
Oh my god.
Let's just go. Come on.
Ew. Let's just around and leaves because ew.
So, yeah. If we get back to the ship, any of the rest of the crew curious, or at least are they aware of what's going on?
They're
Have they
aware.
seen
They have been watching this and laughing along with you. Those two
Yeah.
are officially the laughing stock of the entire crew right now.
Mhm,
They're the shitty brothers.
Works.
mhm.
Ilva comes back waving her hand in front of her face with a ew look on her face.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. We can hereby conclude if Gilfy ever wants to give you shrooms, don't take them.
That
Unless
was,
when they're just random shrooms.
That was definitely a thing of evil. And
I mean, we know that some of them are good, just don't go for the pale flat ones.
yes.
How would we find? Like, how would you know if you don't do this? Somebody has to make sacrifices.
Yes.
Yes.
We took one for the team.
Yeah,
It's
we are the
We did.
true heroes of the journey.
Yes, but-
We really are. We are the.
no, you're not. You're the clowns of the journey, and that's. Are you genuine? I mean, that's the thing. Is Bargy really prepared to sacrifice his dignity as a fine, upstanding clown?
I think that's too. It's too late for that.
That ship sailed a long time ago, Cinder.
Yes, but the point was that.
The splashing sounds on his way down to the water kind of movie.
True enough.
As long as he can kill mounted warriors in the most badass action scene ever, he's good.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
Oh, and he
You're
can.
very badass, I know.
He certainly can.
I mean, at the moment he doesn't. He could kill the most badass warriors just by standing near them at the moment. So.
Well, so I've learned a long time ago that Baggy is the sidekick of this show. So
Not really.
Right now, he's at least, you guys get to the water, you get yourselves cleaned off. You do need a fair, in fairness, you need a new pair of breeches, both of you, and a new tunic, and probably a new set of dignities as well. But yeah.
Yeah, they did buy an extra set of clothing,
Yes.
so we can fix that, but the dignity's gone.
Yes.
I think just leave the original set of clothing on the beach and burn it.
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure that dignity stinks a little.
They are when you get back on board ship, that there are some comments from a few of the other crewmen here and there. It can't be helped, but you know, on the other hand, there is nobody on this ship who hasn't at one point or another, you know, gotten themselves way too drunk or whatever. So you know,
Yep.
and the captain comes over and you know, sits on an oar bench near you, and you know, puts his elbows on his knees and smirks a little and goes, "So, did you learn anything interesting about the local mushrooms?"
Yep.
All right,
I did.
good.
I'm not making promises that I won't be learning again.
I learned something about the local mushrooms as well yesterday, you see. I learned that I should not let my crew overindulge on them in such a manner another time.
Party pooper.
No, I think the whole pooping thing was you.
Oh, he got you there, Gilfy.
That's a from Ilva nearby.
Don't know what you're laughing about, Buggy. You were in on it. I mean, I knew you had some interesting proclivities regarding, you know, intimacy with people, but I wasn't expecting that.
Don't you have a rabbit to hunt down or something?
No, I did that. Well, I tried to do that last night, but
Could you do it now, please?
No, I think this is better.
I'm hungry. Off you go.
No, I told you. You want it. You got to catch it yourself. Although, to be fair, at this point, Buggy, I think they'll smell you coming a mile off, so you won't be able to catch anything anyway. So
Right, which is why you need to do it, because...
No, but I don't need to do it. You want me to do it, and I've just got this. I think I've pulled my leg.
just want you to get out of my hair.
I can't pull my leg. I pulled my leg. I couldn't possibly.
Sindri, I would not anger a person that cooks your food and binds your wounds.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you. You're fine. I'm talking about him.
Oh,
Yeah,
You're
well,
good.
so I'm you know, Gilfy and I are best mates now, and
I mean,
I might be able to procure something to put in your food.
There was a poop and sock connection there.
yeah. We'll see. I mean, fair enough.
Don't be too smug about it, Sindri.
Oh, but I so rarely get a chance to be smug, Buggy. I need to savor it while it lasts.
We didn't laugh at you when you were tripping on incense back in Dear Glass.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good point. But to be fair, when I was tripping on incense, I didn't end up doing half the things you did.
No, but we had fun, didn't we, Gilfy?
Yep.
I mean,
We see Gilfy suddenly pupils go white again for a second. We seen some things.
oh god. That's a good point. Did they see anything? I mean, or what did you see? Anything particularly traumatic or interesting?
Gilfy goes to Sindri, grabs him by the face, and like, we tasted colors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
I think I'm tasting some
Smelled
colours.
sounds.
I can taste the color right now, Gilfy. I can taste the color. I can taste.
Can you hear that? It's a brown nose.
I think Sindri takes Gilfy by sort of manhandles him over to the edge of the ship and pushes him over back into the water, or tries to anyway, and then brushes his tunic off.
Right.
Hey, Henry, that weren't nice.
Didn't want
Anyway.
him to- I'll go
While you-
get him back.
While you guys do that, the captain is basically getting everybody ready because, you know, you can't stay here on this beach forever. So he wants to move on
Mm-hmm.
in short order. And he's trying to decide whether it should go one way or the other along the coastline, and in the end he basically comes to the conclusion that whatever, we don't know where we are, so one way is probably going to be exactly as good as the other. and so he's intent on he wants to go and have a
Could ask someone who could ask the bones.
he could. He doesn't actually seem to remember to do that right now. But
Well, if I'm nearby when he's
Yeah.
mulling
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah, you
over,
are.
I will offer.
yes, oh sure, certainly, he says. Go ahead.
And I shall do so.
So you take out the bones.
Yes.
Yes. And and you throw them and come to the rather odd conclusion that regardless of what way you go, great danger awaits.
Yay.
Well, I let him know that, also with a note of, well, duh.
Yes.
But I don't want to sass my bones too much, because then they'll just get angry at me.
Yeah, they'll just, not cooperate next time.
If you ever
Kind
need
of
a,
that.
if you ever need a change of medium, I got the hookup.
He,
I'd rather do the thing where I look into smoke.
the,
I can do that too.
so, you, he does, he thinks about this for a while and then says, I know what we need to do is to go, well, regardless of what way we go, we need to follow the coastline closely. We can't go very swiftly. We don't know these waters. There might be reefs. There might be underground or underwater sandbanks. I'm in no particular hurry to run ground. So no question that we will need to be careful. At the same time, we do need to see if we can find life here. I mean, people. Presumably, there are people living in this place. And when we do, I will need to send out a couple of groups to, investigate further. And needless to say, you five are going to be one of those groups. He says and looks at you. You already had success with it once. Why break up a winning combination? But we are going that way, he says, and points along the coast.
Great danger awaits. That's what he says with a smirk.
He eyeballs you.
Really
Now.
not.
And then maybe, he says, you should be asking the bones not so much whether great danger awaits, but whether we will find more interesting mushrooms that way.
Oh, please no more mushrooms.
I think that causes you great danger.
That could be the great danger.
It won't be. Unfortunately, unlike the rest of you, but very much like me, the bones don't have a sense of humour.
Are you sure?
Quite sure. I mean, they're
Yeah.
welcome to prove me wrong.
Rather
Don't say
shitty
that,
humor,
they
really.
just will.
Oh, all the better for it. Then
You all
Anyway.
suddenly hear a snickering from his bone pouch.
Look at you did.
Anyway, yes, Captain, we are going that way.
No, you don't. Yes.
We're going that way,
Yes.
and we shall. Well, as you say, let's not break a winning streak.
Indeed. And he says, and
Don't jinx it.
and he, but you guys, you push back out to sea, and he keeps several more people on a watch than he normally does, where normally it's just, Sindri or maybe one other. He's got 4 people on watch this time. He wants both people to keep watch astern and out front, because in all directions, basically, because that ship from last night, as he says, it could presumably still be there, and from the looks of it, I'm pretty sure we could outrun it if we sailed backwards and half the crew was asleep, but no point in risking anything. It did look dangerous, and we don't know if they're hostile.
Besides, who knows what they could be hiding under all of that wood.
and
Yes, Ilva seems to think they might carry a ship inside their ship.
Well, it would be the only thing that made sense. I mean, that huge ship wouldn't be fast. If they want to catch anything or go at shore, it would be easier to have a smaller one.
yeah, he tries to bend his mind around the concept of a ship within a ship.
Thrody seems equally skeptical.
Yeah. In any case, you sail along the coast for the rest of that, well, most of that day, in fact, and it's the one thing that really springs to mind is that this is an unbelievably beautiful place. It is almost mind-numbing. There's a point where you reach an outcropping. You've sailed for most of the day, really, and towards evening, and you see there's a point coming up ahead that you need to go around. You can't see what's behind the spit of land, basically, because it's again, there's forest and it's quite high. It's not a low spit of land. It's almost like a small promontory, so you can't really see what's on the other side. And when you come around it, you sail into a bay, or you can see a bay opening up in front of you. And the water is so clear and so bright blue. It's like looking. You can see the sandy bottom, and it's probably 30 feet below you. 10 paces down, and you can see the sand. You can see fish in the water.
I've actually seen seawater like that
Yeah,
around the coast of Greece.
it's unbelievable
crabs?
when you see it.
It's so amazingly
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's beautiful, and
It's
and
like
for
you can reach out and touch it, but
Yep.
it's so far below you.
Yeah, and because for you guys coming from the Southlands, you're used to these briny,
Murky waters.
stormy seas, which carry an entirely different kind of beauty. This is just surreal. It's almost, it feels a little bit like the water isn't quite thick enough to carry the ship. It's
think
almost that
Ilvi is-
feeling.
I think Ilva is leaned so much over the side that she can actually touch it.
Yeah. And it's amazing to look at, and everybody is just astonished by it. And you see these weird fish in the sea, and let's just say you're not exactly making tremendous speed at this point anymore, because everybody is
we're
busy.
awestruck.
Everybody is busy looking into the water, and
That reminds-
at one point, Bjorn Blue Eyes reaches out. He actually puts his hand in the water, and he says, "It's so warm."
What?
I mean,
Thrody tries as well.
imagine this is like bath water warm almost. And it is. It's really this is warm water. It's very again completely unlike what you're used to.
Well, this place is certainly magical. Let's just hope it's a better kind of magical.
I'd say, are you sure we haven't all died and gone somewhere else? This place seems too good to be real.
Well, I think it's due compensation after the last place we visited.
I mean,
I shall be right back, guys. Hang on. You guys just go on and talk.
I didn't think the last place we went to was even that bad.
Thrody stares at you because he was freaked out by the planes of the congregation.
Yeah, Sindri's all just shrugs. Yeah, he didn't think it was. I mean, obviously it was unnerving, but at the same time, actually looking out on the plains in itself had a kind of desolate. He says it has a kind of desolate beauty to it. Not like this, of course, but
Right, you just go back and party with the Glauga.
well, if you're willing to, help. If you're willing to help me convince the crew to try and sail back there, then sure. But I think it's for the best I stay with you guys.
And back.
Besides,
Thrody makes a thoughtful sound and says, well, since it's the same distance from everything, I suppose going there and then somewhere else would strictly speaking, be the fastest way to get around the world.
Yes. But to be honest, I don't think we're
I don't
going to
want
see it
to,
again.
but
I don't think we're going to see it again. We had our one glimpse. That will have to be it. Either way, yes, this place is
much nicer.
yes.
I kind of want to bathe in it. It looks beautiful.
I think we need to be sure of our surroundings before we do that.
I know.
But you're right, after so long at sea, a bath would be nice.
It really would. Ilva pokes her arm in. Hey.
Is there any sign of civilization nearby?
Yes, there is actually. You do see when you get a little further into the bay, you can see buildings, or a village of sorts in the distance, and you can see a couple of boats. They're not large, and they're not like the floating castle from the night before, but they're definitely,
Are they made with the weird wood?
doesn't, from the distance that you can tell, it doesn't look like it, but you're not up close enough to see. So
Well, we found a civilization, didn't we?
Yes.
Should we go visit them, Captain?
yeah, we probably we need to. We need supplies. He says we need rope, amongst other things. After the storm out at sea, we do require several things for the ship.
Yeah, the Fagerfair could use a little repair.
Yeah, could do with some repair.
In
time.
that case, are any of you up for taking a bet? I bet that they are not hostile. I know it's probably a losing bet, but let's make it fun.
No, I'll take you up on that bet.
And since I personally don't know anything about win rates and stuff, I think Frode would suggest that if he wins, he should get more because his bet was less likely.
No.
You
We
can always
each
say
bet.
you can give 2-to-1 odds.
Yeah, something like that. I just, don't have. I've never gotten into how that works. But yes, that's what Frode does.
I'll throw 10 silvers into the pot.
But here's the bigger question. Are they taller or smaller than the Tierklasian people?
We'll find out.
Oh, we've got a whole slew of that. Well, taller than us or taller than the men of
I
Tierklas?
said Tierklasian people. Obviously no one is taller than us. She looks a little proud.
Yes, that I
How would
was.
you know that, Ilva? Have you ever been here? Have you seen the locals?
No, but it seems like it's smaller the further from the south they get.
Very well, I'll take that bet. I bet you they're taller than we are.
Okay. I bet they are smaller than we are.
Alright, so I'll bet you, Buggy, 10 silver that they're friendly, and you, Ilva, 10 silver that they are taller than we are.
Excellent.
I'm in on that.
Right. And you get to the closer to the coast. And sorry. Oh. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Hey!
Can
Oh,
you hear me?
hey!
Yeah.
Discord explosion.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened so many times now that we're almost getting used to it.
So, yes, you get to closer to the coastline itself. You can see the buildings. They look kind of weird. They don't build stuff the same way you do. They certainly don't build in the same style that people in Tierklas does. So,
How do they look weird?
well, I shall show you in a moment.
Yay!
You are able to drop anchor near a beach. It's actually it looks like a It's not a fishing village, not a small place. It's good-sized town, really, and it's got a very nice beach. It's excellent for your kind of vessel to land upon. You can see several, fishing boats there as well, but it doesn't seem to be the only thing these people live off of. Either that, or they are the richest fishing village in the world.
Oh.
Well,
We don't really know. We thought we had a huge city, and then we went to Tier Glass. Who knows how much they have down here in this green area?
Mm-hmm.
They certainly
The greener, the more people, apparently.
They don't lack for timber.
Apparently not.
So, yeah, you get well, you get close enough, as I said, that you can drop anchor, and the captain and you guys, he wants you along as well, and most people obviously want to come ashore, but he's saying he doesn't want to take a whole crew there. And while he does tell people to be armed, he tells people to not actually carry their weapons in hand, because he doesn't want to. He doesn't
want to come off hostile to people around us.
Exactly. And so you can see people moving on shore. Obviously, they look confused, somewhat frantic in some cases, because
Our people?
No, locals were moving around. Because they haven't seen a ship like yours before. They don't know who you are, clearly. They're not terribly tall. They're about the same size as the people from Tier Glass.
I think Brody hands over 10 silver to Ilva.
Ilva grins widely. Told ya.
And
The further south, the smaller people.
And he's also the further north. You mean probably? You're from the deepest south.
We're trying to say the further from south.
Yeah. But yes, and but they have all of them have black hair. From you can tell, there's no variation on that theme.
They all look like Sindri. I'm not sure they'll be friendly.
I doubt it. I doubt. I doubt
just
they.
hand over the 10 silver now.
No, they might be, I don't know, the opposite of Sindri.
Well, they're not attacking us.
They don't look anything like me.
Because they're scared of us. They're scared of us.
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I
Just to make them friendly.
still don't see the resemblance in. I mean, for a start, I imagine most of them are. That's actually a good point. How many of these strange new people are clean shaven? Of the men, obviously, because women don't usually have beards. Any.
Not unless they're dwarves.
Yeah, but then I don't think there are. Well, I don't think there are any dwarves in this world. But there you go.
You can see if most people in there have some kind of beard.
Okay, fair enough. Are they as unkempt or as braided as half of ours are, or do they keep them?
They keep it close cropped.
Oh, there you go. So the point is that they're much neater looking,
Yeah.
in many ways than we do. That's the thing.
Oh my god, their hair is beautiful. Look how shiny it is.
Like Sindri's, oily.
No.
No.
Look at it.
Well, I'm quite far away.
And finally, you're able to, get off the ship and into the surf and wade ashore. And people are, well, to put it mildly, running from you.
Not hostile.
They
I win.
well, I mean, they might be going to get someone who is. That's
The bet isn't settled at all at this point.
I think it's
they're
best.
running from us. They're scared of us.
I think it's
Just-
best. You carry on, please.
It just means they aren't fighters.
Yes.
course. Let's wait a minute and see what happens.
Yeah.
let's not provoke these people if we can avoid it.
And
So, imagine that very shortly, if we stay where we are, someone will be along to see to us.
Hey,
And-
Frody,
oh, go on, please.
Mhm.
did you ever learn the language thing that Tierney knew?
No, I never met him again.
Oh,
I suppose I could try and figure it out on my own.
That is possible.
you can do
Um,
that?
I don't know. Won't know until I try.
That is true.
They did have weird magic there, but some things seem to be the same, like how they made items of lasting magic.
True.
The it does take a little while, because obviously the people running away are fleeing for their lives for all they know, and the captain tells you to stay put and be ready, but don't be hostile, and you can see another group of people are approaching you from the village itself, and they look to be armed and armored,
Thrody puts on his most disarming smile.
and they are led by a man who is in fact neither. He doesn't look like a soldier. He's not dressed in any kind of fancy armor of any kind. He is wearing, when he gets closer, you can see he is carrying a sword, or he's wearing one on his belt, more precisely. They're wearing these long robes, almost, or long tunics that are wraparound things. Or he is, the men behind him, who are all dressed identically in the same armor and the same clothing. They're also equipped. There are two groups of them. One group wearing or wielding rather odd-looking spears with almost like a hook on it, and another group are wielding even stranger weapons. It looks like bows, except they're crossbows basically. But you guys have never seen anything like that before. It's like, what the hell is that?
Well, they certainly seem to have a garrison of some sort.
It's not a huge group. There are 30 men in all, so the crew outnumbers them. But the man who's walking in front is wearing white. He looks to be. It's difficult because you don't know his people or how they look as such, but you would guess that he's not a young man anymore, but he hasn't quite reached middle age either. So he's not he's probably in his mid to late 30s or something. He looks remarkably unafraid of you as he steps forward and speaks a few words in quite probably the strangest language any of you have ever heard.
Yeah, Ilva meets him with a smile, but that fades and she turns her head kind of like a dog that doesn't understand the second he starts talking. Like, what the fuck?
Thrody regrets he didn't learn that language thing before they left.
Yes,
Ilva
because
regrets that for they didn't learn that language spell before we left.
imagine a bunch of Vikings listening to someone speaking ancient Chinese for the first time. That's pretty much what this is.
You take this one, Captain?
The captain looks confused, and then he looks like he has a brain fart. Basically, he has an idea. So he takes a single step forward, sort of to identify himself as the spokesman and leader of this group. He keeps his thumbs hooked in his belts, so again he's not threatening, he's not drawing a weapon or anything of the sort. And
His
then
hands far from his weapon either.
Exactly, and then he, because obviously this man that is facing you is some kind of local chieftain for all he knows, so he doesn't bow, but he nods his head respectfully. And this seems to take the man speaking slightly aback. He probably did not really expect that, and he holds out a hand to his side, sort of gesturing to his soldiers in a calming kind of gesture, as in, you know, don't draw weapons or don't charge, or, you know, something. You can't understand what he's saying, obviously.
But we recognize the disarming gesture with calm down.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. So, and by the way, I should probably show you, because the soldiers in question are, if I can find it, here we go. And I need to set this so that you guys can see it as well. That would help. So, this is roughly the sort of sort of equipment.
Interesting.
I mean, could we be whispering in the background while
yeah, absolutely.
I've never seen armor so uniform before. I mean,
They look so hostile.
they look.
They
look. I don't know if there's. But to say, because I don't think there's necessarily a word in the Southlander dictionary for professional. So, whatever, I don't know what Sindri would call them.
You could always
They look
say
organised.
Yeah.
Capable.
In a way, I mean, I don't see any identifying marks, but for them to have
their armor is like our cloaks, and that's what identifies them.
Maybe.
But the fact is, I've never seen a group of soldiers with such identical equipment before. I mean, think of just the kind of money and influence it would take to be able to equip soldiers like that.
Actually,
they have enough.
The captain actually, you know, he nods when Sindri says that and says that's a very good point. It would imagine that one of our chieftains or Hersia back home had to pay. I mean, even us, even at Hyrborg, he says, and looks to you guys, and says, even in Hyrborg, yeah, sure, we made sure that all of the men and women sailing with us had good armor. But your weapons are still your own.
Maybe that man in white is very, very rich, and we should
be.
see if he seeks employers.
Or employees, I think you mean.
Yes.
Yes, and he nods, and the man, again, the other man says a few words slowly, and obviously realizes that you don't understand the word he's saying, which makes him look a little annoyed, not angry, just this, okay, this is a barrier, obviously, a language one, and we need to work on it, and
Just imagine him pinching the bridge of his nose.
Yes, something to that effect. And he takes a deep breath and then he puts a hand, just one hand, on his own chest, and again he does like almost in a reply to the captain. He nods his head in an equal sort of measured nod. It's not deeper. It's not. He simply he's paying back the sign of respect, so to say.
Does he say anything?
No, not at this point. He's. I mean, he again. You guys are You don't understand a word that he's saying, and
No, I figured if he,
no.
specifically gestures to himself, he could.
Oh
follow
no,
that.
he's not. He's doing it like like so.
Ah, okay. Well, now what, Captain?
Captain again looks ponderous for a moment, like he's thinking things over long and hard, and then he gestures for all of you and he says, "Okay, hands off weapons, boys. Put your shields on your backs. Let's make it clear to these people that we're not their enemies." And then he holds up one hand as if to show that he's not doing anything hostile. And then he uses his other hand first to point to the ship. And then he takes very slowly his free hand and takes a belt pouch. And it's got money in it. And he opens it slowly so as to show that he's got money, and then he points back to the ship. And clearly this seems to register with the man, and he nods a couple of times and says a couple of words to his men, who also, they what happens next is something none of you have really seen before. He just says 2 or 3 sharp words, and the entire group of soldiers coming with him stand to attention. They're drilled.
I think when they do that, I suspect in unison, Trudy reacts with shock. Whoa!
Yeah, you are coming from a culture where war is individual, where the individual warrior and his courage is what is seen on the battlefield. Here you are watching real military drill. Very simple stuff, like acting in unison and standing to attention and so on, but it is the first time you guys have seen it.
By the powers.
Ilva looks impressed. We could learn from them.
I wonder if they're disciplined or unable to think for themselves.
Well, I guess we're about to learn, the captain says. Why don't you 5, he says, go into town, providing they're, I don't think they're going to stop you from the looks of it. Go into town and see if you are able to find, if they can, I realize that it's going to be difficult to communicate with them, but see if you can figure out a way to get us some rope to begin with. If we can get 100 paces of good solid rope, we'll be good, And we have the money to pay for it, so don't be afraid to do so. I want to make friends with these people before anything else. We're very far from home. I don't think we need to be making enemies here.
Yes, hoping they accept silver then, and not seashells or weird seeds or.
Well, true, but the man over there seemed to understand when I showed him the money. So.
Well, I guess that's true.
Remember, we do have plenty of gold clippings as well from.
That we do. That might help. Take some of that as well, he says, and takes another. He takes a belt pouch of his own. He says, here, money for the rope, and see what you can find out. If you can't find rope, see if you can figure out what they eat. It's a good way of making new friends if we can eat the same things they do or drink the same things they do.
As long as it's not those mushrooms.
No more mushrooms. Well, not unless they're preparing them, because I'm pretty sure that then they will be okay.
What if they eat rope?
Brody, please.
Yes,
God damn it,
Frody,
Brody.
please.
Come on.
Grin.
Alright, you guys go, and
I'm just imagining how unprofessional we would all look to them.
yes.
Like, Prodi obviously being smug and saying something, the rest of us just going, ugh.
Yes, I mean, I don't know what. Again, because this is like you say, language is based on ancient Chinese, but they would have cause to call us. Well, to them we are literally the Southern Barbarians. So
Yeah.
The thing is that as you guys start moving towards the village,
Reluctant at first, seeing if they try to stop us.
they don't. But the man does. He does put up a hand towards you, sort of. Wait a moment. The man in front of the group, and then he looks back over his shoulder to a couple of his men, and gives them a brief order. Those two men look very worried for a moment, but they put down their weapons, and then they approach all of you.
Thori does his best to smile at them, disarmingly.
Yes.
That seems to be a universal guess.
Pretty much, and it does make them look a little less worried, but still, they approach.
Ilva
And
just looks curious.
they take out small strips of red cloth from their belts, and they look very, very worried when they get close to you, and then they approach Frothy first because he's smiling. And one of them points to his sword, to Frothy's sword, and then he holds up one of his pieces of cloth, and he does like a tying motion.
It's attached to his belt, obviously,
Yeah.
but he maneuvers, so the man has easy access.
Oh, that makes him a whole. Clearly, that makes him a lot less worried. What they do is
Expressing curious, also.
yes, they tie two strips of this red cloth around the sword in such a way, with a very tight knot, in such a way that in order for you to draw your sword, you would first need to cut that piece of cloth.
Huh.
So they haven't disarmed you, but they have made it very difficult for you to do anything hostile.
As far as they know.
Well, yes, but what do they know? And
Ilva smiles when she sees that and turns her back so they can do the same with her hammer she has on her back.
they look massively impressed at Ilva. For one thing, woman. For a second thing, Jesus fucking H Christ on a crutch, the hammer on her, and
it's really nicely maintained.
It's very nicely maintained, but all of your weapons are really. So they do the same thing there, and one by one they go around.
They can do the same with her mace.
Yes, and they one by one they go around to everyone, hoping that nobody is going to put up a fight.
So
No, Ilva
Dagi's
just smiles widely when they've done it.
Sorry, what do you say?
I'll just that Baggy. He's at this point. He's kind of wondering if the bet's been lost out, or if there is something still in it. If they're just mean and mad enough to get a reaction from them, but he figures it's lost by now, so he'll also.
And they bind his axe to his belt as well in a similar way. So again, it's possible for you guys to cut these pieces of cloth, but it'll take extra time to arm yourselves. That's basically the point. And once that has been done, then the man who gave the order for this to happen, basically, he gestures that you can continue and you can head into town, and he then looks at the captain and holds up, he points to all of you, holds up his hand with his finger spread so as to say, okay, that's 5, and then he does the same thing with his other hand so as to show, all right, you can send 10 people into town at the same time. Again, they don't know you, and you're big, so they're not interested in having too much trouble.
Nah.
But that's
That kind of understands them.
I mean, I suppose we should be proud that they think it's going to be that we deserve at least 3 of their garrison to each one of us. So
Yeah. But you are you can head into town as such, and I think that is a very good place. Again, we are about to change scenes, or to take a second break, but I'll just show you this first.
Rainy. Ooh, pretty.
That is the village that you're looking at,
Wow, that's beautiful.
isn't it just?
Ooh.
This is such a different land for us.
It would be so sad if someone put a fire somewhere.
Don't worry,
don't
I'm trying to
start.
cut back on my arsony.
Yeah.
On your arse.
I'm just arsony. That was Baggy and Gilfy. They were
Yes.
doing all the arsing.
They were doing much arsing indeed. But yes, that is what you're looking at. And
Lovely.
as you can tell, the houses are obviously completely different from anything you've seen before. The bridges built from stone, and the bridge up here in the back, which is almost looks like it's suspending itself in free air. This is just so bizarre for all of you to see.
Ilva is almost vibrating with energy. She wants to see it all.
Yeah, and I think, as I said, this is an excellent place for us to take another break, and we will be back with the final hour of this week's The Long Voyage momentarily, so don't go anywhere.